One day when my water broke, my husband was celebrating his first love's birthday. But I died on the street waiting for rescue. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in high school. A handsome and sunny boy in the back seat blushed and asked me to be his girlfriend. No! I never want to hear such disgusting things again. The students at school were gossiping about how Johnny's backup, Laura, had moved on from him. She didn't deliver milk to Johnny during early morning classes, didn't bring him drinks and towels during basketball practice, didn't reserve a spot in the library, and didn't linger around him during break time as usual. After chasing Johnny for almost a year, did she really just give up like this? Maybe she was just throwing a tantrum and waiting for Johnny to come and coax her back. People say the most handsome guy from the neighboring school is also pursuing her. Johnny impatiently slammed his English book on the desk. It's time for morning reading, let's go chat outside. Just as he finished speaking, I happened to walk towards the door. The classroom fell silent, with dozens of eyes staring at me. Ignoring the attention, I walked to my seat, opened my backpack, and found 2 bottles of milk inside. Probably the housemaid habitually prepared 2 cups of milk and forgot that I had asked for only 1 cup from now on. Johnny's deskmate, Sam, nudged him and whispered, "Laura is trying to show you some kindness. I told you she couldn't hold it in for long." Johnny's eyes flickered, but in his line of sight, I passed the milk to his deskmate. "Please have it," I said to Helen, who was shocked and asked, "For me?" I nodded, then opened my Chinese textbook and started reading silently. Helen leaned over, curious, and asked, "Laura, why are you studying now?" I didn't even lift my head. I planned to move to class A next semester. I had deliberately answered fewer questions during the first monthly exam to move from Class A to Class F to be in the same class as Johnny. But now, I had no reason to stay in this class any longer. Just the thought that the boy sitting behind me would become my husband 9 years later, but during my difficult pregnancy with our child, he was indulging in the tenderness of his first love, which led to the premature end of both myself and the child who had his blood running in their veins. I couldn't forgive him. So, I decided to end this doomed relationship early. During lunchtime, Helen and I went to the cafeteria to get food. The cafeteria uncle served me curry rice, and with a smile, he asked, "What would you like to order for Johnny today?" "What does he like?" I was stunned. My pursuit of Johnny in high school was so intense and bold. I had stuffed his desk with love letters I wrote to him and even dared to confess my love loudly on the stage in front of everyone despite the principal's warnings. That's why even the cafeteria uncle knew what food he liked. Everyone knew I liked Johnny. It was a one-way street. Now looking back, it all seemed like a joke. I shook my head. I won't get food for him today. In fact, I won't do it anymore. After a pause, I added, I won't do it anymore in the future. The cafeteria uncle paused in surprise, and as I walked away with Helen, he prepared to serve the meal but halted at the sight of us leaving. Unexpectedly, I crossed paths with Johnny at the end of the line, our eyes meeting. He looked puzzled, but I turned away without a word, walking past him without a second glance. Helen asked softly, "Laura, what's gotten into you? Why did you suddenly ignore Johnny?" I sat at the table and replied, "It's nothing, I just feel like, in the past, it was quite boring. After no longer making Johnny the center of my world, I realized how much free time I had. I could chat with girls about entertainment gossip, share my favorite strawberry milkshakes and donuts, arm wrestle with guys, and see whose paper airplane flew the farthest." I took out the practice books I had thrown in the desk hole before and completed them little by little. During breaks, I fed the school's stray cats and even made a shelter for them using old cardboard. Without the anxiety of high school life, I found that youth was so beautiful and fulfilling. Days passed in this carefree manner until our school basketball game arrived. Our homeroom teacher asked us all to go to the field to cheer for our classmates. I remembered in my previous life, I had formed a cheerleading squad and learned a high-difficulty dance just to support Johnny's team during the game. But due to a mishap with my teammates, I fell hard on the ground, sustaining multiple injuries. In the end, Johnny's basketball team won with a high score. There were cheers and applause all around. His eyes held camaraderie and honor, but there was no trace of me. So, this time I took sick leave from school, staying in the classroom alone to memorize English vocabulary. Doing such ridiculous and foolish things, I knew I would never do them again. Helen, who had rushed back after a while, informed me Johnny was not in the right state during the game today. He kept looking towards the audience, as if searching for someone. She then looked at me and asked, "Laura, isn't he looking for you?" No, I calmly denied, continuing to write the English words silently. During this period, Johnny had painted the words "Hate Laura" all over his face. I no longer cared for him, and that seemed to make him happy. Helen continued to chat about the events on the court, but I was no longer interested. I made an excuse to go fetch hot water, as I couldn't bear to interrupt her. However, as soon as I stepped out of the classroom, I saw a few people hurrying towards me. Just as I was about to move aside, Sam, with Johnny leaning on him, called out to me, "Laura, don't you have a spray for pain relief and inflammation? Please give it to Johnny, he's injured." I indeed had a small first aid kit prepared because of Johnny's fondness for basketball, filled with imported medicines that were not easily available in the market, especially effective for bruises and sprains. But in my previous life, he had won the game, so how could he be injured in this life? "Laura, what's wrong with you?" Sam urged in a hurry. It was then that I noticed Johnny's swollen ankle. In a detached tone, I said, "It's expired," so I threw it away. With that, I grabbed a water cup and headed to the water room without sparing a glance. What was I thinking? Why was it my concern that he was injured? The pain he caused me in my previous life didn't even begin to compare. Why should I feel sorry for him? Sam gasped in shock, and a sharp gaze seemed to pierce through my back, as if trying to make a hole in me. Johnny took a few days off from school due to his injury. When my mother heard about it, she had the maid cook bone soup and insisted I deliver it to Johnny for his recovery. Because our families were close friends, and Johnny was someone she had seen grow up, she wanted me to visit and inquire personally so that she could be assured. Despite my repeated protests, my mother insisted. To ensure I wouldn't run away midway, she instructed the driver to drop me off at Johnny's door. Reluctantly, I carried the chicken soup to Johnny's house. It was the evening, and the leaves of the crepe myrtle trees by the roadside rustled in the wind. Wrapping my thin coat tighter, I got out of the car to find myself facing a white 3-story building. The dwindling sunlight cast an irritating orange hue on the building. I used to visit his house often as a child, and we had even lived together inside for almost 2 years. Every corner of the place was filled with memories of him and me. I had comforted him despite my own heartbreak, promising to be good to me for a lifetime and never disappoint me. But it was all a lie. My heart felt like it was tearing apart. I trembled with pain, but then I calmed down and opened the thermos in my hand. The delicious aroma of the soup filled the air, and without a second thought, I put it on the ground and let a stray dog finish it. After the dog had eaten, I prepared to leave. But as soon as I turned, I heard someone calling my name. The voice was young and familiar, and I couldn't be bothered to turn around. Johnny hurried to me, trembling on his crutch and almost stumbling in front of me. Sweat beads formed on his pale forehead, and he primed himself to speak, but choked on his words. Finally, he managed to say, "Laura, what's gotten into you?" Suppressing the sourness in my throat, I saw the boy before me, once so beloved, now a mix of innocence and pride. I gently curled my lips, portraying indifference and fearlessness. "I don't understand what you're saying," I replied. With that, I continued walking forward, and he hastened to stand in my way, panting heavily, visibly struggling with each step. "Why are you ignoring me?" Johnny's eyes were turbulent, desperately searching for answers from my face, but he never understood. Pointing to the food container on the ground, he said, "This bone soup is for me, right? Why did you feed it to the dog again? You always come to my house despite me telling you not to, and today you didn't even come upstairs. I've been injured for so many days, and you didn't show any concern. What's wrong with you?" I coldly cut him off. "Isn't this better? You annoy me." Johnny was taken aback for a moment, then nodded slowly. "I don't like having you hovering around me. I'm happier when you keep your distance." After saying that, he stared at me again, pulling out a hint of sarcasm. "Laura, you better not play any tricks of desire and obsession. You know I hate this kind of thing." Tricks? It's not surprising that Johnny would think that way. In the last life, in order to attract his attention, I did indeed do many childish and ridiculous things. Although I eventually succeeded in making him my husband, I never received his true affection, and even ended up with a tragic death on the street. So in this life, I won't waste any more time and emotions on him. You overestimate yourself. I don't have time to play games with you. I raised the corner of my lips, my voice calmed out. "The bone soup was delivered by my mother's driver. You also know my mother's temper, just pretend you've had it, don't give me any trouble." Johnny's eyes were filled with disbelief. "You treat me like a dog?" I shrugged. "If that's what you think, I can't help it." With that, I didn't give him any chance to retort and just walked away. Seeing him every day in class was already enough to make me uncomfortable. Now I just wanted to disappear as soon as possible. Little did I know, as I had just taken a few steps, the thermos suddenly flew through the air and landed on the ground. Immediately, Johnny's enraged voice came, "I don't want your damn soup." Since the last incident of the soup delivery, Johnny and I never spoke again. I no longer involved myself in anything related to him, no longer shamelessly tried to win his favor. Instead, I focused all my thoughts on studying, striving to return to Class A as soon as possible. When I finally reached Class A, I wouldn't have to see him every day anymore. 2 years later, during the college entrance examination, I wouldn't linger in the city where he went to university like in the last life, watching him break up and reconcile with his first love, torn between life and death. I would just escape far away, best to be completely separate, never to have any intersection in this life. However, the high school curriculum was quite challenging for me now. So, I had my mother hire a private tutor to help me with my studies. Among the many options, I chose Eric, who was in the same grade in class as me and from Class A. During the junior high school entrance examination, he outperformed me and entered the school as a super academic achiever. Our first conversation was also straightforward. I said, "I want to improve my grades as quickly as possible and return to Class A." He said, "Leave it to me." I started getting close to Eric, gathering the questions I didn't understand, then seeking him out during breaks to ask questions in Class A. Even after school, I would go to a fast food restaurant near the school to review problems with him. Over time, a new rumor spread in the school. I became the epic backup who no longer revolved around Johnny but changed targets. Using the guise of studying, I was accused of harassing the academic ace. This caused dissatisfaction among the fangirls of Eric's support group. One day after school, they even cornered me behind the teaching building. "Laura, stay away from Eric. A class hanger-on like you isn't worthy of being around him." The girl who spoke had a boyish buzz cut, a sturdy physique, developed muscles, and was significantly taller than me, seeming to be a sports-specialized student from Class C. The other 3 girls behind her, although not as tall, also had fierce and intimidating appearances. In no time, they surrounded me in a circle, trapping me in the middle. I remained calm. Eric is my paid tutor. I didn't take advantage of him in any way. The girl with the buzz cut sneered, "What tutor? Isn't it just an excuse for you to cozy up to Eric? Laura, you really have no shame. You used every means possible to pursue Johnny in the past. When you couldn't have Johnny, you came to harass Eric. As a girl, I'm embarrassed on your behalf. Yeah. You're disgusting. He won't like a fickle, romance-seeking person like you, who doesn't study properly. Eric is a good student. If his grades drop because of you, affecting his future university entrance, will you take responsibility?" I was speechless. Yes, I admit that I was a bit obsessed with romance in the past, but I had changed my ways, ready to focus on studying and my future career. Why were they so unhappy just because Eric helped me with a few problems? Not to mention I was paying him. Don't waste time with her. The girl with the buzz cut, losing her patience, stepped forward, her chest directly colliding with mine, pushing me back a few steps. "If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know your mistake." With those words, the other girls beside her also rolled up their sleeves, ready to act. "What are you doing?" At that moment, Eric arrived, grabbing my wrist and pulling me behind him. With a height of over 6 feet, broad shoulders, and a commanding demeanor, Eric deterred the girls. As soon as the girls saw it was Eric, their previous aggressive demeanor disappeared, replaced with a hint of innocence. "Eric, don't be fooled by Laura's appearance. She's just a shady girl, couldn't get Johnny and now trying to stick to you. We're doing this for your own good. She's just trying to date you, unlike us who genuinely care about you." At that moment, someone spoke up, "Laura is my sugar daddy." The loud voice left everyone, even me, stunned for a moment. Embracing my shoulders, Eric confidently declared, "I rely on her to support me. Whoever blocks my financial path shall face consequences." With that, amidst the astonished gazes of the onlookers, he swiftly whisked me away. Once we were out of the school gates, he held my shoulder, turning me around and examining me from head to toe. "Did you suffer any harm?" I shook my head. He sighed in relief. "Good. I will take care of those people and won't let them bully you again. And don't you dare stop me from teaching because of this incident, all right? I can confidently say no one teaches better than me." Seeing me stay silent, he became a little anxious. "I'll take care of your classroom duty. Even help you with hot water until you graduate. From now on, you are my boss." He lowered his head, the pleasant scent of cedarwood engulfing my senses. "Deal?" "Laura?" I found him amusing, so I nodded. Eric was indeed good at teaching topics, and if I suddenly changed tutors, I might not be comfortable. His eyes softened. I'll come to your classroom to find you from now on. If they say anything, blame it on me. The next day during the break. Just as agreed the day before, Eric came to my classroom. Class S students were usually excellent in academics and quite proud, never bothering to engage with Class F students. His arrival caused quite a stir in the entire class. With dozens of eyes fixed on us, Eric strode over to me, naturally took the pen from my hand, glanced at the math problem I couldn't figure out, and swiftly wrote down the solution on a scrap piece of paper. I admired him and gave him a thumbs up. A top student was indeed a top student. Behind me, Sam nudged Johnny's arm, whispering, "That's Eric, the one who's been getting close to Laura recently." Johnny let out a cold snort, then sat up straight, kicking the side of my chair with his foot. Annoyed, he said, "Laura, you're disturbing my sleep." I furrowed my brow at him. I was just looking at my problem and didn't make a sound. Plus, the classroom was noisy all around, not just my voice, right? Without paying him further attention, I continued studying with Eric. Unexpectedly, a ballpoint pen flew from behind and hit my notebook, leaving a long black line across it. It was the problem I had just solved. Johnny leaned back in his chair, hands crossed, feet on the desk, looking quite unapproachable. "We, from Class F, don't welcome students from Class A. Be sensible and leave." Wasn't this just picking a fight for no reason? I took a deep breath, refusing to back down. "Johnny, if you're sick, go take your meds. Stop acting crazy here." Johnny's face darkened completely, his eyes staring at me intensely. Sam and Helen beside me gasped. I shot him a look, then turned to tidy up my books. "Eric, let's go to the rooftop. Forget about the lunatic." With that, I grabbed Eric's hand and walked out. The once boisterous classroom fell silent, with all eyes on us. Behind me, Sam muttered quietly, "Damn, are she and Eric really together now?" Under Johnny's disruption, what was supposed to be a free break time was now nearing its end. I had arranged to meet Eric at the ice cream shop after school for more study sessions. However, when evening came and I prepared to leave after packing my bag, Johnny appeared at the classroom door. After his behavior during the day, I was too weary to engage in a conversation and planned to ignore him and leave. He blocked my path. "I heard you want to transfer to Class A? I'll help you find a tutor." He looked down at me. "Find the best one. No need, Eric is enough for me." Johnny's expression turned sour. Through gritted teeth, he muttered, "What does he know? He's more knowledgeable than you anyway." I pushed past him and walked away without looking back. Under Eric's guidance, my academic performance soared. I achieved good scores in several small tests. However, returning to class it was still somewhat distant. One day, as I was taking a physics test, Helen ran back with a bag of snacks, saying that there would be a transfer student coming to our class. I paused. By the time she said that, the transfer student should have arrived. When the bell rang for class, just like in a previous life, Johnny carried her into the classroom on his back. On her way to report to Class F, Mary got lost and got hit in the leg by Johnny's basketball as she passed by the basketball court. I looked at Mary's face, which couldn't really be called pretty. Her eyes weren't big, her nose wasn't sharp, her skin wasn't very fair, she wasn't very intelligent, she was slender and petite, barely passing as delicate. But it was this person who made Johnny defy his parents' orders, even go on a hunger strike, just to have her as his girlfriend. I nearly witnessed their entire process of flirtation, love, breakup, reconciliation, and then final falling out. I sort of took advantage of the situation. Back then, Johnny was deeply wounded, getting drunk every day, looking haggard. I stayed by his side. I drank with him, smoked with him, kept him company when he couldn't sleep. When he cried, I cried. When he laughed, I laughed. And then, after one drunken night, he pinned me down on the bed. Upon waking up, he was confused for a while, before saying he wanted to marry me. I laughed, and then cried. I thought all deep affections would not be betrayed. Little did I know, when I was 7 months pregnant, these two went out on dates behind my back. I was just a prop in their turbulent love story. Mary's seat was placed in front of mine. Johnny carried her in carefully and put her in her seat. She looked up, cheeks slightly flushed, and whispered a thank you. Johnny shook his head, saying there was no need for thanks. My heart felt sour, and I quickly lowered my head, tears welling up in my eyes, almost spilling out. In my previous life, I was proud and vain, never considering the ordinary Mary as a rival. But in this life, I just wanted to escape. After school, Eric came to find me. "Boss, your favorite strawberry milkshake." It's funny to say. Even though Eric was my tutor, logically, I should be the one providing him with good food and drinks yet he always bought me all kinds of delicious treats, saying it's better for study efficiency. I shook my head. Eric, I want to drink alcohol. So the two of us went to the night market behind the school, ordered beer and skewers. Since I had decided to focus on my studies, every time I met Eric was for studying, rarely did we come out to relax. During the meal, neither of us spoke. After eating and drinking our fill, I was almost too dizzy to stand. He squatted down to carry me. No need. Why be polite? I ate to have the strength to carry you. Eric didn't hesitate, lifting me up. Boss, be happy. Life is short, I'll indulge you. And he kept me company. If I didn't speak, he didn't speak. Now, he finally said these words. I lay on his back, tears streaming down silently. I couldn't tell anyone about my experiences from my previous life. No one could understand my pain. I wanted to hate someone, but in this life, these people haven't actually done anything wrong. I had no reason to hate. Eric carried me all the way, and I cried all the way. As we were about to reach home, I let out a sigh. Eric, just this once, let me be willful. No one can make me cry anymore. Boss. Eric's voice was gentle. Willful it is, I will spoil you. As long as I study well, I don't really need to work hard, plenty of time. My heart warmed, and I smiled silently. The monthly exams were approaching. I started studying even harder, hoping to transfer to Class A as soon as possible. During self-study that day, Mary tossed a paper ball over, quietly asking me to pass it to Johnny behind. I was interrupted by the sudden action while looking at the knowledge points marked by Eric for me, and I felt irritated. I remember it was the same in the last life. Back then, I had the most intense hostility towards any girls who wanted to contact Johnny. Without delay, I opened the paper ball and found a chocolate candy, along with a small ghost face she had drawn. I was instantly furious, bluntly declared my ownership of Johnny to her, and told her not to waste her efforts. However, after class, she hid in Johnny's arms, crying with red eyes. Johnny's gaze towards me was as if he wanted to kill me. Thinking of this, I just gave a fleeting glance at the paper ball. Mary, now is study time. Just because you don't want to study, doesn't mean others don't want to. Mary's face turned red, feeling wronged. It's just passing a note. Do you have to be like this? If you love to study so much, why are you in Class F? I'm in Class F because I want to be, not because I'm only fit for Class F. With that, I stood up directly to pack my things, and then threw them on Mary's desk. If you want to pass notes so badly, fine, let's switch seats, you can pass them all you want. Mary's eyes filled with tears, teeth biting her lip. Why are you targeting me? I wasn't trying to compete with you for Johnny, I just wanted to thank him. Judging from her tone, she must have heard about my loud pursuit of Johnny in the past. Passing this note was simply to embarrass me. Unfortunately, I was already indifferent. First, whoever you want to love or thank is none of my business. Second, I've given you the opportunity, you should thank me. Then, I pulled her up and sat in her seat. In truth, I was tired of feeling squeezed by these two people. I took advantage of this opportunity to leave. Finally, I genuinely hoped these two would stay put and stopped causing trouble for others. At that moment, Johnny, who had been sleeping, suddenly sat up, watching as we exchanged seats, furrowing his brow. Laura, what are you trying to do? Since the last time he mentioned arranging a tutor for me, only to be turned down, we hadn't spoken in a while. I turned my head, gave a faint smile. No need to thank for a dull courtesy. Johnny's face turned ugly. Mary took the opportunity to pick up the paper ball. I'm sorry, did I disturb your sleep? Just wanted to say sorry. Laura, if I upset you when I just transferred. Johnny, you didn't have breakfast. Want a piece of chocolate candy? Seemingly irritated, Johnny impatiently swatted away the paper ball from her hand. I hate sweets the most. Mary's face turned ashen. I couldn't be bothered with witnessing the couple's drama, so I started tidying up my desk and continued studying. Soon the class was over. I picked up my cup to go refill water, but Mary unexpectedly grabbed my cup first. With her innocent and aggrieved expression again, she said, Laura, I'm sorry, I spoke out of line during self-study. Let me refill your water. Can you forgive me? No need. Do you not want me to refill for you, or are you still unwilling to forgive me? Do you just hate me that much? My temples throbbed. Talking to this person was really tiresome. I just want to be friends with Laura. She said to herself, shaking the cup in her hand, you can trust me, I'm quick. She then disregarded my protests and ran out. Helen also looked puzzled. Is she okay? I shrugged, indicating I didn't know. About 5 minutes later, Mary came back in with hot water. Laura, here. I reached out to take it, but she let go early, intentionally spilling the cup towards herself. The scalding hot water gushed out, almost scalding her hand entirely. Mary screamed in pain, "Laura, I just want to be friends with you, why can't you forgive me?" Her cry immediately drew the attention of the whole class. A 16-year-old girl with such cunning, I thought she was plain looking, the family was poor, and her studies were poor, yet she could deeply captivate Johnny. I was about to get angry when suddenly Johnny rushed over. "What's going on? Where did you get burned?" Mary's face was covered in tears, holding her reddened hand. "I'm fine, don't blame Laura, she definitely didn't do it on purpose." Johnny looked beyond Mary, coming directly to me, holding my hand and examining it carefully several times. Compared to Mary's fully red hands, I just had a few red spots. "Are you blind?" Johnny raged at Mary. "Can't even handle a cup of hot water?" As he said this, not only was Mary stunned, but I was too. I was forcibly taken to the infirmary by Johnny. The doctor's exact words were, "If we had come any later, the wound would have healed." Johnny coughed lightly and turned his gaze elsewhere. On the way back, we walked one after the other, not speaking to each other. Just as we were about to reach the classroom, someone from the back suddenly spoke up. "Laura, switch back seats. Why switch back?" Only a long silence followed. As we neared the door, he said, "I take back what I said about hating you before." He paused and then added, "The day after tomorrow is my birthday, the whole class will be there. Can you come?" It was on Johnny's birthday that day when I found out I was pregnant. The reason was that I, who usually felt sleepy and had a good appetite, suddenly became even more drowsy and gluttonous. A friend brought a pregnancy test stick, which I tried, and sure enough, 2 lines appeared. To avoid making mistakes, I went to the hospital for a checkup. The moment I confirmed that I was pregnant, I almost jumped for joy. As soon as I left the hospital, I went to a store and bought a gift box, placed the test results inside, and tied a pretty bow on it. I was filled with a belief that this was the best gift for Johnny's 25th birthday. But it wasn't until much later that I learned from Mary that on that day, he had come to break up with me. Memories can truly be painful. I rubbed my temples and said, "I have something to take care of, I can't go." The person behind me stopped in their tracks and said, "I'll wait for you at the estate where we used to go. I have something very important to tell you." I realized that, like Mary, Johnny also didn't understand words. I didn't respond and went straight into the classroom. 2 days later, the entire class had prepared birthday gifts for Johnny. Sam prepared a basketball, while Helen put a bag of instant noodles in an empty box. Coldly, she said to me, "Johnny used to bully you all the time, giving him instant noodles. I'd say I've treated him well enough." I suppressed a smile, then turned to see Mary putting a brown scarf in a paper bag. Without any logo, it must have been hand-knitted by her. Unfortunately, she didn't know that Johnny never wore anything without a brand. I attended classes as usual, took notes, did homework all the way until the end of the school day. Everyone gathered to take the special car sent by Johnny's family. I, on the other hand, avoided the crowd and went to a deserted intersection, taking out a paper airplane from my pocket and lighting it with a lighter. This time, I cut my losses in time and focused on living my own life. I was doing well, and the future should be good. The only thing I regret is the child that never came into the world. The flame quickly consumed the paper airplane. I thought to myself, if I have a chance to fall in love and get married in this lifetime, then be my child. I am stronger now, and this time, I will definitely protect you. I returned home, crawled into bed, and read a book. It started raining heavily outside, and at midnight, Johnny called me. I turned off my phone directly. In the middle of the night, my mother came to wake me up, saying Johnny was in the yard. I glanced at the clock on the wall. It was already 3 in the morning. The rain outside hadn't stopped. I went out. He stood in the drizzle, hair sticking to his face, eyes covered with a layer of moisture. The first thing he said when he saw me was, "Why didn't you come?" I held an umbrella, kept a distance of 5 or 6 steps, and didn't feel like going closer. The umbrella was small. And I didn't want to share it with him. I had never said I would come. Johnny closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and said, "Forget it, it's not important." Opening his eyes, he went to the car to get the cake and brought it to me, saying, "Wait for you to blow out the candles." I didn't move. Rainwater dripped from the tips of his hair, and his lips were turning blue from the cold. But I felt no sorrow at all. As we locked eyes, he saw the indifference in my gaze, flattened the curve of his lips, sighed, "Laura, can I consider this a surrender?" My eyes landed on the cake in his hands. In the past, I was always the busiest person on his birthday. Selecting gifts, baking cakes by hand, writing cards, decorating the venue. I didn't expect anything in return, nor did I expect to blow out candles with him. I just wanted him to be happy. I didn't understand why the Johnny in this lifetime suddenly changed his attitude and started caring about me. I was no longer interested. Johnny, do you understand? I don't like you anymore. I don't just dislike you, I don't even want to be friends with you. As the words left my mouth, Johnny froze in place. What? I switched seats with Mary because I wanted to keep my distance from you. I went to Class A because I wanted to stay far away from you. I used to have a crush on you, which troubled you. I know I was wrong, and I've changed. Johnny shook his head vigorously. No, that's not it. Laura, I like you. I knew I was wrong from the moment you started ignoring me. I wanted you to come to my birthday party to confess my feelings. I prepared flowers, fireworks, and a 3,000-word love letter. It was too late. Or perhaps I was too grudgeful. Pain once suffered left a lasting memory. Johnny, that's it. Let's not see each other again. Our ties end here. The rain pattered against the umbrella as I coldly turned back towards the house. This time, I was particularly stingy, not even willing to share a worthless umbrella with him. After the final exam results were released, I proudly made it to the top 10 in the school and returned to Class A. On the day of packing up my things, Helen hugged me, her eyes swollen with tears. Laura, I'm really going to miss you. We won't see each other often after you move to Class A. I patted her head. I will come back to see you often, and if you make it to Class A, we can still be desk mates. Helen wailed, you might as well kill me now. Sam gave me a notebook, hoping that I would study well, aim high, and be the glory of Class F. Many other classmates who I had good times with talked to me for a while and gave me snacks and little trinkets. After saying goodbye to everyone, I picked up my bag and got ready to leave. Johnny, who had remained quiet the whole time, approached to help me carry my things. No need, I refused. Johnny's outstretched hand looked awkward. At that moment, Eric walked in from outside and smoothly took the book bag from my hand, then patted a seat. Smiling, he said, Laura, welcome back. Let's get to know each other again. I'm Eric from Class A. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, Johnny would occasionally visit Class A to find me. He would help serve me food, bring me water, and give me an umbrella when it rained. He pursued the person he liked fervently and selflessly, just like I used to do. But I didn't respond at all. The greatest kindness I displayed in this lifetime was in not harboring any hatred or seeking revenge. I devoted all my energy to self-improvement, to avoid getting entangled with such people and repeating the tragedies of the past life. After the college entrance exams, Class F organized a final gathering, and Johnny got very drunk. With red eyes, he cautiously approached me, hesitated for a long time, then asked, Laura, I really want to understand, why did you suddenly stop liking me when you clearly liked me before? I thought for a moment and whispered, I had a dream where you weren't very nice to me. I rambled on, it was strange, but speaking those words now, I felt completely unfazed. It was as if the vivid and painful memories were someone else's story. He listened very attentively, and by the end, with his long lashes lowered, his eyes were as serene as a still pond. I thought he might treat it as a lousy joke. To my surprise, he looked at me in earnest. Laura, last times Johnny didn't love you, but this times Johnny does. I took a sip of the wine, feeling a bit tipsy. However, this times Laura isn't waiting anymore. After the college entrance exam results were out, I applied to a university in the capital, a city I loved, and for a major I was passionate about. I was not going to lower my value or lose myself for anyone or anything. On the day I went to report at school, Johnny came to see me off. The bustling airport was filled with his reluctance, and he opened his arms, saying, Laura, when you leave, we might not see each other for a long time. Can I give you a hug before we part, without overstepping? His college entrance exam scores were not very good, so he decided to retake the exam. This parting might indeed be a long one. I stepped back, not allowing his hand to touch me. Cutting off without hesitation was my style this lifetime. His face was full of desolation. Fine. Laura, wait for me for a year, I'll come find you. I shook my head, there's no need, don't waste your time. At that moment, the airport announcements started playing. I decisively turned and walked away, not even uttering a customary farewell. In his desperate voice behind me, I heard Johnny say, I won't listen to you, Laura. I will definitely come find you. I took out my earphones and plugged them in, blocking out his voice. As I boarded the plane and found my seat, a pleasant scent of cedar reached me. I turned my head to see a handsome face with a mischievous grin. Eric smiled at me, boss. I'll be relying on you for the next 4 years.